Crafty friends, Katrina the Crafty Cataloger here for what I hope will turn out to be my August 2025 Crafty update. In my last video I mentioned that I was hoping to try something new, and so here we are. What I am going to try to do is let me date myself a little bit, record a short update every Sunday afternoon, and then at the end of the month put them together into one video, which means that the format of my videos will change a little bit. In the past I've always done cross stitch together, knitting together, quilting together, paper crafting, and reading, and I won't be able to do that if I'm going to do it by the week. But I feel like one of the reasons I've been struggling to get an update out every other month like I wanted to is that at the end of the second month I almost feel overwhelmed trying to remember what I actually did throughout the month, or past 2 months for that matter. So I'm hoping that by doing a short video every week, I'll just cover what I did in the past week, and it will be fresh in my mind, and I'll be able to not have it be so overwhelming. So we're gonna give this a shot. Today is the first day. Today is August 10th. So I will be covering basically from my last video to today. Next week I will cover from this afternoon through Saturday. My thought process in deciding to do it this way was that my husband and I have been getting up on Sunday mornings and going for a walk, and then we come home and I get ready and I go to church. So now I'm home from church, I've eaten lunch. I should be able to do this quickly and then go about the rest of my day, getting ready for the coming week and hopefully fitting in a little bit more crafting. So that is the plan, and I hope it goes well, and I hope that you all like it well enough. I did have a very productive week. We went camping. We left on Monday and we came back on Thursday. We went to Hartwick Pines, which is in Grayling, Michigan, and we didn't really do anything, and that was the plan. We pretty much just relaxed. We did drive up to the next town north along I-75, which is Gaylord, Michigan, and the city of Gaylord has an elk herd that they care for, and we had been up there one other time and tried to see them, but they were off in the back under some trees and we couldn't see them really well. This time we could see that they were down from where we were, but they were closer and they were under some trees, but we felt like we could see them if we could get down to that spot, and there were other cars down there. So we got back in the truck and we drove around and we figured out how to get back where those other cars were. I'll put a couple pictures up of the elk. They are just beautiful. They're very majestic, and even though they were just laying there, I mean, I just thought they were so beautiful. And I don't really know how they hold their heads up because those antlers look really heavy. But other than doing that and going for the occasional walk, we really did nothing. We sat around and relaxed. So I did get a fair bit of crafting done. The first thing I want to show you is the Michigan embroidery piece that I showed you last time that my mother had given me. She wanted me to do it for her. For why she couldn't do it herself, I still don't understand, but I did end up finishing it. So we have the entire state of Michigan finished. So there's the Upper Peninsula and the Lower Peninsula. I still don't enjoy embroidery. And if I don't ever do embroidery like this ever again, I don't think it would hurt my feelings. My plan this week is to go to Hobby Lobby and purchase a frame and get it framed to gift back to my mother for her birthday, which is at the end of this month. I also managed to get my third ornament finished. As a reminder, I'm working on this one this year for my 2 children and 2 of my nieces. These come from the Reindeer Games pattern by Brenda Gervais. I have previously done 2 of them. I had started the third one at the last Saginaw Stitching meetup, and I was able to finish it while we were camping. I realized when I sat down to work on this while I was camping that I had made a mistake, and I started stitching it 2 over 1, and it should have been 1 over 1. So this one, I just finished it 2 over 1. This one is a little thicker than the other 2 that I finished, but it's fine. It doesn't, you can't tell, it doesn't look bad. So I only have 1 more of those to go, and then I will be able to get those finished up and ready to gift at Christmas. I don't remember if I think I shared this last time, that I was going to be starting You Knit Me Together, which is a pattern done by my friend Harmony from Cornerstone Stitchery. I did start this, and I think I started it since I talked to you last. Get the thread out of the way. You can't really tell what it is at this point. This is the K, the N, and the I, and this is the first edge of the border. So I have made a reasonable amount of progress on this. It is one of my August Whipco goals, so I am hoping to finish this by the end of the month. I also spent some time working on my second World of Warcat craft piece. You can actually see the first one hanging up behind me. If I have a picture of where it was before I started, I'll have it up here. And now this is where we are. Oops. I have thread that's kind of, I worked up in here. I was all up in here. You may remember, if you've been with me for a while, that after I finished this one and thought that it was done, I realized that it should have had back stitching, and everybody told me that it looks fine without the back stitching. I have a feeling that I'm not going to be able to get away with not back stitching this one, and I actually have the frames for both of these behind me, and I was thinking the other day that I should frame that one and I should put it up on the wall. I would lace it, and then once I got this one done, if I back stitched it and really felt like that one needed it, I could take it back apart and do the back stitching. I am going to have to stitch both of these again for my youngest son. He would like them as well. The last cross stitching piece that I've been working on this week is Minnie the Library. This is a Heaven and Earth design, and I can't remember who the artist is, but this is where it stands now. I did a lot. I moved over here, I did a lot down here, and I worked at filling in a lot of the miscellaneous ninja stitches that were kind of hanging out in there. I am super excited because the girl's head starts right in here, and I want so bad just to go over and do that, but then I tell myself, no, you should keep working your way across. Yeah, This is one that when you're looking at it up close, it doesn't really look like anything, and then when you step back you can see the books on the shelves and stuff like that. So this one was one that I originally started because Sarah Stitchin' Mommy and I think Terry Lee from Terry Lee Crafts were going to start it, I want to say for National Library Week or something. I know that Sarah started it, but I don't know if Terry ever did. I think maybe she decided not to after all. So, like I said, a pretty productive week in cross stitch. I was able to get quite a few stitches into all of those pieces. I have over 1,500 stitches in Mini the Library over the course of so far this month, and Knit Me Together has over 500. So very pleased with that progress. I continued to work on the baby quilt for my granddaughter. The binding is probably 2/3 done, so I'm not going to show that to you today. I should have the binding completely finished by next Sunday, so I will show it to you then. And then the only other thing that I worked on this week was my knitting, and I had moved my progress keeper last week when I showed you, so you can see that I have done all of this. I have gotten into this part where now we're adding the gray in, and this is a very cool pattern. This is actually like a mesh, but when you look at it back here, that's not what it looks like. It looks like a checker of some kind, and that's what I thought it was. When I looked at the pattern cover, I thought it was some kind of checkered thing, and then when I started working on it and realized that it's actually this mesh, I think that's really a cool optical illusion almost. So I've been doing a couple of rows of this every evening, and we are moving right along. I will move my progress keeper so next week we can see how much progress I made this next week. I unfortunately have to go back to work tomorrow, so we probably won't have as much crafting next week as we did this week, but I'm going to give it my best shot. That is all I have to share with you for this week, so I will go ahead and sign off for now, but I do hope to be back next Sunday with an update of what I was able to accomplish during this coming week. Hi Crafty friends, I'm back for week 2 of my August update, and again I feel like I had a pretty productive week. So let's get right into showing you what I worked on this week. I spent more time on Mini the Library. This is a Haid. I will put the name of the artist on the screen. I can't remember it right now, but I also think it's something that I'm not sure I can say correctly. I worked mostly along the top. I worked my way all the way across the top, so you can see that that top row is completely filled in, and I have found the right hand side of the piece. So I do have a fair bit of extra fabric there, but at this point I'll just live with it because this piece is basted onto these scroll rods, so I can't easily take it off and redo that. But I did put a fair number of stitches in this. I will try to put last week's picture up above this so you can compare. I do enjoy working on this piece quite a bit. It has just enough blocks of color to feel like you can go a ways without having to change colors, but also not so much that you're super bored by stitching the same color. Yesterday I went to the Stitchy meetup in Saginaw, and that was a lot of fun. There were 8 of us there, So it was nice to hang out with those people. And I spent my afternoon working on Knit Me Together some more. And I am making some definite progress. I now have the KNI, so I still need the T. It's hard to see, but right there up by the K is the bottom of the letter Y for you. I had been working on the cable, and I worked on it, and then I actually worked my way up because I wanted to work on the hearts for a while, which I did. So I'm feeling good about the way this one's coming. This one is on my Whip Go board, and the goal on the Whip Go board is to start and finish it all this month. So I want to keep working away at this in hopes that I can actually meet that goal. Those are the only two things I worked on in cross stitch. I did fully finish frame the embroidery piece for my mom, and I will put a picture of it here, framed. I gifted it to her last night. It actually worked out that I was able to meet her and my brother and my sister-in-law in Saginaw after the stitching meetup, and we went to dinner to celebrate my mom's birthday, which is later this month. But like I said, that's all I have for cross stitch. Knitting, I continue to work on my shawl. What is that called again? I don't remember what this is called. Pink graphite shawl. And so, let me get the thread, the yarn out of the way. So you'll remember I moved my stitch marker when I was on here last week, so I did from there up decent amount of progress. Was able to work on it almost every day and do 2 to 4 rows depending on how much time I had. So again, I will move this stitch marker and we'll see how much progress I make next week. Other than that, I have not done any other knitting. I fully finished, excuse me, fully finished the baby quilt. Binding is all complete. I will put a picture right here. I did hang it up and take a full picture of it out in the living room, so I will put that there so you can see it. It really is cute, and I look forward to gifting that to my daughter-in-law and son at the shower later this month. I did a little bit of paper crafting this week. I don't think I've shared this before. I found this folio thing on Amazon, and it came with like sheet protectors already in it, and I can't remember how many are in here. The reason I bought this, so our school where I used to work and where my husband worked gave out these awards called MVTs, Most Valuable Teacher Award. And my husband had received several of these over the years, and when they award them to the teachers, they give them in a cheap document frame, which he had a lot of these hanging up in his office. So when he had to bring everything home, he brought them home, and I was looking for a way to keep them, but not keep them in the frames, which take up a lot of space, and we weren't going to hang them up anywhere here at the house. So I put all of those in there, and if I had a picture of the student, I put it with the MVT. And then I went through And I had saved all of the pictures and open house announcements and things from the kids throughout the year. So anyone who had given us that, I then basically, put together like a scrapbook. I just, by year, put them on there, put their name under there. So it's nothing super fancy. And then the back part of the book is random pieces of artwork that maybe kids drew for him, or letters that he got from people thanking him and or the band for whatever, for being at Memorial Day, or, congratulating them on how they did at festival or things like that. So I had needed to do the 2025 kids, and I was able to finish that this week. So now I will probably put this downstairs with the rest of our photo albums. I'm happy to have that done. It feels like a great accomplishment. I did make some cards. I forgot to take a picture of the one that I gave to my mom. And I have several others that are partially done. So I will show those to you next week. But here's one of the ones that I did finish completely. I actually made 2 of these, and one of them went out in the mail yesterday. And so it just says happy birthday. It was a pretty simple card to throw together. And like I said, I have several other cards that are almost complete but not quite. So I hope to finish those up at the end of this week, and I'll be able to show you those next week. After I got done last week, I realized that I forgot to share anything about my reading. So we'll catch up, and then hopefully in the future I will remember. So during the first week of August, I read a book called Marrying the Mountain Man's Best Friend. That was the second book in a series, I believe. My Goodreads did not indicate that I had ever read that before, but I am pretty sure that I did, because so many elements of the story seemed super familiar to me. But anyway, it was a good enough book, so it wasn't terrible that I reread it. I listened to the audiobook of Call the Midwife. I am a fan of the Call the Midwife show that is on PBS. The book was not as good as the show, but it was good. Then in week 2, I read a book called Everything's Coming Up, Josie by Susan May Warren. I believe I've read other things by her before. This one was okay. I just find that I am not a huge fan of contemporary fiction. I'm not sure why, but I'm not. I also listened to Silas Marner by George Eliot, and I listened to that as part of my goal to read a couple of classics this year. I actually think that I'm up to, I may have actually exceeded that goal. Let's see. I'm not. I wanted to read, I've met the goal. Sorry, can't see because I don't have glasses on. I wanted to read 2 classics. I have read 2, and I'm actually going to start listening to The Secret Garden by Burnett today. I know that's a classic that a lot of people read when they're kids. I have never read it, so that one is up next in my earbuds. And so I hope to have that one done next week. Anyway, I think that was it for today. So, 2 weeks in a row, I've managed to come and do what I wanted to do, which is update you on the previous week. Hopefully I can do this again the next couple weeks, and this will all go together nicely, and hopefully it will be a better way for me to keep on top of this. So anyway, it is nicer here today in Michigan, nice enough that we have the windows open, so that is nice. And I hope that wherever you are, the weather is tolerable and you are getting lots of crafty time. Until next week, Happy crafting! Hi Crafty friends, today is August 24th and I am here to do my week 3 update for my crafting this month. And as I thought about this morning, I really hope that this doesn't get too boring for everyone, because I feel like I've been working on the same projects all month. It is fun for me to see that I do actually make progress, but I realize that there's not a whole lot of variety for you guys to look at. So I guess be kind, but let me know your thoughts. And I'm just impressed that I've made it back 3 weeks in a row. So let's start with my cross stitch. Again, I've only been working on the same 2 projects that I have been working on all month. This first one is You Knit Me Together. I will try to put a picture of what it looked like last week up here. I have made a decent amount of progress on this week. I finished the K. Oops, let's pull that back. I finished the K, and I finished this, which is supposed to be like cabling on a knit sweater. And I finished the entire row of hearts. And I have started on the second row of cabling. I find that if I just do the outside stitch all the way down, that I can do the rest without looking at the pattern. So I am hopeful that I will be able to finish this yet this month, which I realize is the end of next week. But I will work on this again starting tomorrow, because this is what I work on during the weekdays. And hopefully I'll get it finished, which will mean I can mark one more thing off my Whipco board. And I've also been continuing to work on Mini the Library. Here's a picture of what it looked like last week when I showed you. I have put a fair number of stitches into it last Sunday and then Friday and Saturday. I haven't worked on it yet today. I have surpassed the 3,000 mark for this year, and my goal at this point is to put 6,000 into it and then move on. I'll actually probably go back to Mini Village Bookstore for the rest of the year. But I'm really pleased with the progress I've made on this. As I mentioned last week, just a second, let me take this off. You can see a little bit better. I have moved all the way over to the far edge, and I'm working my way down, and I'm trying to be a little more strict with myself and make myself fill in stuff and not leave random stitches, which I am famous for doing, and then it's a pain in the rear to go back and fill them in. So I'm trying not to do that this time. But still really enjoying this one. And like I said, hopefully put another 3,000 stitches into it, and then I will go back to Mini Village Bookstore for the remainder of the year. I want to thank all of the people who did comment on my question last time about what fabric I should consider using for my restart of Sunlight Sonata. And I got some very good feedback on that, and I really appreciate that. I do need to get that fabric ordered in the next week or so, because I'm assuming that she dies when you order. So it will take a few weeks for it to get here, and then I want to be able to have at least the first section gridded, and it's going to be the holidays before we know it. So, you know, I'm not going to have all the time in the world. I have been continuing to work on my shawl. Again, last week I moved the stitch marker, so we can see that I actually think I put in more this week than I did last week. I actually think what I'm going to do today is I'm going to add a stitch marker here. I wish what I had done now was I wish I had left the stitch marker the first week and had a second one so we could see the weekly and the monthly progress. Although I actually think that maybe at the beginning of the month I was at this gray line. So maybe the monthly progress is all of the mesh area. But I have put in a nice amount again this week. And it's getting bigger and bigger. I actually purchased a new pair of gray dress pants yesterday, and I'm really excited because I think that this will go really nicely with those when it gets a little cooler and time to wear shawls again. I did not do any quilting this week or sewing of any kind, so I have nothing to show you there. I did finish those cards that I told you I had started and not finished. So here's the first one. It says happy birthday, and this is called a bookbinding gatefold card. It opens like this. I really find that what I enjoy making are the fun folds with the designer paper, or the pretty paper. I actually don't enjoy stamping all that much because I feel like I'm not very good at it. I have the most awful time getting a nice, clean, crisp stamp, so I actually prefer if I can just use fancy paper and fun folds to make a fun card. Here's the next one I made, very similar to the other one, also a happy birthday, and opening up like that. One of these is going to my niece, and one of them is going to my sister-in-law that both have birthdays in the next couple of weeks. Well, one's this week. One has to go out in the mail tomorrow. Baby card for my daughter-in-law for the shower next weekend. And yes, they're all that same fun fold. I kind of get on a kick, like I make a whole bunch of the same thing at once. I made this one, fun library paper. I love this paper with the date due stamp and then the library books. This one just says thank you. I am going to give this to a coworker. Not sure what that was behind me that just slid down, but gonna give this to a coworker who's been doing some nice things trying to improve morale around the office, and I just want her to know that her efforts are not going unseen. And last, the same paper layout, but a happy birthday card that I will be sending. I believe I'm going to send this one to my best friend whose birthday is in November, but she and I always enjoy talking about what we're reading. So that's what I did in the paper crafting realm this week. And then reading wise, I finished one book. I finished listening to The Secret Garden on Saturday, and I believe that in the last clip I told you that I had never read that before, and I guess I lied, because when I went into Goodreads to mark that I was reading it, Goodreads informed me that I read that back in 2014. So sadly that means it made absolutely no impression on me in 2014 because I did not remember a single bit of the story. Even as I was listening to it, not a lick of it seemed even remotely familiar. So I ended up still giving it a 3-star rating. I guess I can kind of see why. Maybe it's considered a classic, but it's a strange book in a lot of ways. So, but it was okay. The print book that I had started last week, I am still reading, and I actually started another print book, although it's on my Kindle. So hopefully I can get through both of those in the coming week and finish up the audiobook that I just started yesterday also. So I really like it if I can finish about 2 books a week, one audio and one non, but quite honestly, the actual print books usually take me more than a week because I really don't have a lot of time to read, not if I want to do all these other things. I know you all understand the problems and the struggles. Anyway, that is this week's overview of what I worked on, and I will be back next Sunday, and then after I film my update next Sunday, I will go ahead and put it all together and post it. So until next week, happy crafting. Hi Crafty friends, today is Sunday, August 31st, and today will be the last segment of the August Crafty vlog. So I'm impressed that I've managed to come back every day, every Sunday of this month, and I guess I'll wait for your feedback to see whether I should continue doing it this way or if I should try something different. It should be a relatively short segment because I really did not work on a lot. It was kind of a busy week, which I'll talk about a little bit later. I did work on You Knit Me, and sorry, I don't want to take it out of the hoop. I had really hoped to finish this week. I did get this cable. I got the hearts done and this second cable finished. Maybe I had the hearts done last week. I got the second cable finished regardless. I got the word you finished, and I have most of the T finished. I still have a little bit left on that, and then I have to do the two words me and together. This was a WhipGo call for the month of August, and I had hoped to finish it. It could still happen. There are still several hours left in today, but we will see. I have some other things I want to tackle today, and I would really like to work on Mini the Library, and I need to start a new project today. I did work on You Knit Me Together. I honestly don't remember what I worked on, but I know that I worked on it earlier in the week. I'm pretty sure I worked on it Sunday. Actually, let's consult the cross stitch let's consult the cross stitch spreadsheet. That's an awful lot of S's. Yes, I did work on this on Sunday, so that would have been after I talked to you last time. I didn't put a whole lot more in on Sunday. It looks like I put about 270 stitches in. So, you know, progress is progress, right? One of the reasons I did not get a whole lot done this week was because yesterday we had the baby shower for my son and daughter-in-law for our side of the family. So I had taken Thursday off work, but I spent Thursday baking cookies, and then Friday decorating cookies and doing all the stuff to get ready. I didn't have a whole lot to do for this shower. My sister-in-law did all of it, and it was beautiful. So anyway, went to the shower yesterday. That basically took all day because the shower was at noon. It's 2 hours drive from here to there. And so then it was the whole afternoon, and then I drove home. But while I was there, my mom gave me a little gift that she had found somewhere, and I absolutely love it. It's a needle minder. It's a very large needle minder, I will admit, but I'm thinking it's going to go on Mini the Library because it's perfect. And you may not be able to see it very well, but it's a stack of books, and they're all Jane Austen. So it says Persuasion, Emma, Mansfield Park. I can't read backwards. Northanger Abbey, Pride and Prejudice, and Sense and Sensibility. She said that when she saw it, it basically screamed my name. So, and she's right. So I really love that, and I will be putting that on Mini the Library. I did work some more on my shawl. And like I said last week, I was going to put, so I had left last week's stitch marker. No, this was from the week before. This was last week's. So I did, it doesn't look like I did as much, but I was at the point where the pattern said to finish out the pink, and silly me, I'm not very good at guesstimating how far I can go, and I thought I could get one more section of pink out of what I had left, and I was, you know, that much too short. So I had to take back the rest, that row, plus a full row of pink, plus a row of gray, because I needed to do something different at the end of the first row of gray. But I did that, and then after you got that done, you had to pick up stitches on this side, and now I'm starting the border, which goes, the gray border, there's a gray band that goes all the way around. And I think this is 18 or so rows, and so that may take me a while because that's quite a few stitches. But I do try to do a little bit every night. I think I've said this before. If I can get my act together after work, I like to be sitting down by 7 o'clock and work on that while I watch Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune. Also, I do work on that in the car if I'm not driving, and I'm excited, but I'm also a little sad because I'm going to start losing one night of cross stitching. I'm pretty sure I won't get any cross stitching done on Thursdays. I might try to put in a few stitches just so that I can say I did it. But my husband and I are going to start playing in the Midland Concert Band, which is a community band for adults, and I played in it back in college, and he thinks that we played in it when we first got married. I honestly can't remember. I know we played in a community band for 3 or 4 summers in Saginaw when we first got married, but I don't remember if we played in this Midland one. But I miss playing. I'm a trumpet player. My husband's a trombone player. I also play the piano, but obviously I'm not going to play that in a concert band. And I had said several times over the years that once the boys were grown up, because that's why we stopped playing, we had kids and it was just too hard, that I wanted to go back and play. Well, we didn't, because he was still a band director, and that was a lot. He didn't have a lot of free nights. So we never did. And then now that he's retired from that, he was the one actually who initiated contacting them, finding out what we had to do. And they had a welcome bag picnic last Thursday, which we did go to. And then rehearsals start this Thursday. So we'll be going to Midland on Thursdays to go to rehearsal. So I should be able to knit in the car on the way over there. Probably not the way back because it'll be dark. I got to figure out how to fit cross stitch into my day, partly because I just looked at this quite by accident today. I use an app called, what is this app called? Streaks, maybe? And you can set up different things in your app. So I have stitching, knitting, ab workout, which I haven't done in forever, writing journal, my devotional, log my food, come on, there we go, walk, read, Wordle, I like to play Wordle, stretch, rebounder workout, and WeWord. And so I try to go in here every day and mark off what I've done. And I hadn't looked at this in a while, but I looked today. I will stitch today. I missed one day in August. That one lone Wednesday. So if I could, I would love to have a full month there. That would be really cool. For those of you who have been with me a while, you may remember that I do walk a lot. And I don't know if you can see that number. I am up to 1,301 days. Actually, we can update that. I'm at 1,302 because my husband and I did go walking this morning before I went to church. Pretty darn proud of that. 1,302 days that I have walked a minimum of 1 mile. WeWord, for those of you who don't know, is an app that you can download, and you can convert your steps every day. And you're supposed to be able to turn your steps get converted to points, which you can then supposedly turn in for things like Amazon gift cards. And I've been doing it religiously for 127 days, 123 days. And I still only have 900 points. That's my only, well, I have 2 complaints with it. It seems like it takes forever. I mean, I get anywhere between 8,000 and 16,000 steps a day, depends on the day. And it still seems to take a long time for me to, I mean, I'm not even at a $10 gift card yet. But it's a pretty simple thing to do, so I just keep doing it and thinking that I guess if it takes me a year to get a decent amount, it takes me a year. My other complaint with the app is that it has ads. And I did get a bonus prize a while ago where I got 6 days ad free. But it was only 6 days, and now I'm back to having ads. And I don't see where I can even pay $2 to get rid of the ads, which I would gladly pay because it's kind of annoying. What else should I share with you? Reading. That was why I had my iPad here. I finished a book called The Pursuit of Elena Bradford. It was pretty good. I'd say it was a 4-star. And that was all I finished this week. So anyway, like I said, it was a busy week preparing what little I had to prepare for the shower and just getting things around for that. I don't have anything else to share. So again, I guess leave me your thoughts as to whether or not you feel like this vlog style of me popping in on Sunday afternoon to give a weekly update is enjoyable, or if I should try something different. I do like to share what I've been working on, and I do think that it helps me be a little more motivated. So anyway, give me your thoughts, and I hope that everybody is doing well, and happy stitching and happy crafting.